Hey y'all, this is Dr. Traci Harrell. Whew, what an amazing weekend it has been here in Seattle. So it was 85 degrees yesterday, and as a woman from Florida, I am loving it. Let me just say that I am loving it. I just got in from the pool, to be perfectly honest. My hair's in a ponytail because it's a mess, so that's okay. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show up for each of you for a couple of reasons, right? When you think about these seasons, right? Summer, spring, winter, fall, each season creates an opportunity for us to show up in a different way. So right now we're in the middle of summer. It's hot, but we're also halfway through the year. This is June of 2025. My mind is blown. Like I was literally in Africa on a vacation of a lifetime 6 months ago. And I was talking about it and thinking about and planning for 2025. And if any of you are like me, the days are they just go by so quickly. So my question to each of you today is, how are you showing up? How are you showing up for yourself? How are you showing up for your family? How are you aligning? How are your actions aligning with what you said you wanted to accomplish in 2025? You're 6 months in. Excuse me. It almost doesn't even matter. It almost doesn't matter. Like, meaning it doesn't matter if you've shown up in all the ways you thought. 6 months in is a great time to say, okay, let me renegotiate with myself, my plans. I'm always intentional about a vision. And I do some work with Debrina Jackson Gandy, who she has a program called Holistic Success. And my program is called the Living Powerfully Experience. Well, guess what I'm going to do between June and September? Listen up. I will have my next book ready for distribution. Yes, I know. Isn't that exciting? So between June and September, that is my plan. And the reason I say September is because on my birthday, which is September 23rd, the National Black MBA Association, which is an organization that I, became a part of 30 years ago, their theme for 2025 is transform. Well, that's actually part of the title of my book. So I got to go just to be a part of this whole energy around transforming. I also feel like it's a calling to say, Traci, none of us are promised tomorrow, right? So what we need to do is make sure whatever gifts we believe we've been blessed with, make sure you leave them for the next generation. So I'm like, okay, you ain't said nothing but a thing. Here's volume 1 of this Transform series, this series that's going to be about the Living Powerfully experience, right? It's going to be about showing up. It's about leaving and living, air quotes, your legacy now. Many of you know that Dr. James Carter, who was the president of the Seattle chapter of the Black MBA, he died. He died in the role. He died as a leader who was showing up, living his legacy now. His passion was young youth, Black youth, and he was the executive director of a program called Project Mister. And again, passionate individual. No one expected him not to wake up the next morning. So I guess for all of us, as morbid as it may sound, none of us are promised tomorrow. My grandmother used to say that all the time. And that was just her country way of saying, show up today and leave it on the table. Play to win. That's what my granny would say. Play to win, meaning this game of life, play to win. I was actually supposed to have someone on. I'm going to bring him on next week. I'm actually going to call him and see if he can join us for the second half. It'll be an impromptu pop in. But the founding president of the Seattle chapter, his name is Bernard. And I've been working on some other business stuff. It doesn't stop me from coming here and showing up and saying, this is what we need to do to show up differently. So if any of you are saying, if I think about my 2025, I could double down as well. Like I'm going to be with Traci and we're going to double down and we're going to do the things that we say we wanted to do. And we're going to actually think about our beliefs. Like, what do I truly believe? What's really holding me back from doing those things, right? And we all know none of this is like rocket science. Right? Although there is a science. There's a science to transformation, right? There's also an art to it. So it's like the art and science. I'm sorry. One of the I'm going to make myself laugh because one of the books that I actually started writing was called The Art. It was it had to do, the subtitle was The Art and Science of Being Aware and Getting There, right? And it wasn't the Living Powerfully experience, but you know, it's all the same stuff, right? I'm just kind of packaging it differently. I had a niece who you know, had a child herself, and it was like, what is my gift? What would be the gift be that I would give to this child who, you know, you want to make sure that your lessons learned are passed down to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. So I started packaging content. I think that's what we all should do. Like, think about the things you've learned that you wish you could pass on to someone else, right? Pass on to the next generation. And so what we're going to talk about today is really going to be a combination of passing on, you know, your wisdom to the next generation. Okay, perfect. And so if I had to start today with a few elements and the topics that we want to focus on, because some people get, like, you know, stressed out when you start talking about, oh my God, we're halfway through the year. Did you get the things done that you thought you were going to do, right? And it's like, okay, let me make sure that I'm providing clarity on my intentions for you. When I say, ooh, exciting, it is, we're embracing joy and peace on this journey. So when you have to define for yourself, what does joy and peace truly mean in our lives, right? So I'm not saying, oh, Lord, Mayday, Mayday, right? We're halfway through the year, and maybe you don't think you're where you should be. Maybe you're exactly where you should be. Maybe the fruit hasn't shown up, but you've done work underground. You've been focusing on your beliefs. You've been doing things, right, that you know are changing your consciousness, right, that are changing your energy that you pour into things and people, right? So when you think about saying, I want to have the life of my dreams, but I want to do it with joy and peace. That's living powerfully, by the way. So my definition of living powerfully has a few elements, but everyone that I speak to has a slightly different version of it, and that's beautiful. But you got to know what that means to you. Like, what does joy and peace mean to you, right? And then you want to explore the science and those true stories behind experiencing lasting joy and inner peace, because things are swirling and they will continue to swirl. There will be swirling people around you that will try to put their little energy on you. The beauty of this is you're able to, remember we talked about those force fields, those invisible force fields, the smile that allows you to kind of look at crazy people and think, wow, that's not me, right? Like, I don't have to be pulled into that. Whatever your normal, natural saboteur response might be, you can decide, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's why that foundational work we've talked about for a year, right? The foundational work that Dr. Carter was like, we got to get this into people. I wish I knew some of this when I was, you know, younger. And in the work that we're doing now, how do we make sure people are clear that we get to decide how we respond to situations? So there's a science to it. There's also the stories that we tell ourselves, right? Some of the stories are true and some of them are not, right? Sometimes our saboteurs tell us things that just aren't true. So if you think about, I want to experience joy. If this is the better together and living powerfully experience, right? Then part of what you want to do is decide, what does success look like to you? So you want to create a true vision of what, you know, living powerfully is. And then what do you want to see differently by the end of this year? What do you want to see differently in 2025? And make sure that journey is one of joy and peace. I'm going to slow down. Joy and peace, right? So there's some practical things we're going to be able to do, but I just really want to make sure that you start with envisioning, what does success really look like for you? So we're going to define joy and peace, or ask you to define it. Think about the science of joy and the science of peace. And then we want to cultivate daily joy. We want to cultivate inner peace. Yeah, let me bring this around. Anyone who knows me, I'm like a flower child. If you look on my social media, I used to post all these beautiful pictures of my lilies, like award-winning lilies, 6-7 feet tall. Like I think one of my lilies had like, I called her Sweet 16 lilies, like the size of your hand. My favorite were the stargazer lilies. They're white with a pink stars kind of center. On the inside, I had white lilies and pink lilies and all these other like exotic, like my life was joyful, right? Because I cultivated joy, right? And the beauty of when you, and again, part of my living powerfully experience, part of it does include these tears. I'll probably bring that in one of the upcoming weeks, because again, I'm bringing it into the book, so I want to make sure you guys have all this information for free, so no one can be like, I'm not sure how to really live my best life. That's not true. There's many ways to do it, and every time you show up here, we're providing you with content, lots and lots of content. Someone told me they have to listen to my show 3 times because I talk so fast. So in theory, I should slow down. And they're like, it's not like it's too fast. It's just a lot of information. And I get it in, and then I'm writing something down, and then I got to go back and I want to get it again. I was like, oh, that's nice. That's cool. Thank you. I think, I don't know. Thank you. So I'm trying to self-regulate right now. As I think about this concept of cultivating daily joy and cultivating your inner peace as you cultivate the outcomes and kind of manifest these outcomes that you want. And remember, we said before, all of the foundational things you've learned before, these concepts of saying, I just got to invest, one day, each day, what is one thing I'm going to do today that will accrue to my goals? If you're bold and sassy, what are 3 things I can do today that will accrue to the longer term goal that you want to accomplish? Right. But even if it's just one thing, one baby little thing that you can say, okay, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to celebrate it when it's done. Like, okay, I drank water today. I bought alkaline water this weekend, which was on my list of things to do. Not just water, but alkaline water. ALKALINE, if I'm speaking too fast. Alkaline water has a more medicinal role when we consume it. Oftentimes, a lot of the foods that we eat and the environmental elements, our body becomes acidic. And when my father died of colon cancer, I did a lot of research about cancer, and cancer cannot survive in an alkaline environment. So like if we really ate an alkaline diet, and we monitored kind of what we took into our bodies, and we did the healing work to release negative energy, but we consumed foods that were positive and drank water, and we focused on the alkalinity. People talk about inflammation, which I have that as a problem in my life. It has been. I'm working on it right now. My body is a divine living temple. That's part of my work. But for each of you, alkaline water was one of my choices, and it's enough. Like when I drink water now, and I should have filled it up because I just like guzzled it up, and now it's not full, but it's okay. Right? When I drink water, and this alkaline water, I feel like I say thank you, thank you, for allowing me to heal my body. Like I'm seeing it as a healing, more purifying, resource that I get to consume for myself. So I'm checking that box. I'm drinking not just water, I'm drinking alkaline water, and as much as my body will allow me to consume. And that's a lot. Like I'm drinking it, right? It's not the only thing. I have tons of beautiful salads in there that I've purchased. And so I'm just making wiser choices. I'm actually house sitting, I know, in this beautiful place with a water view this way, a beautiful pool this way, a healthy puppy that I get to walk. And that, again, was a choice that allows me to get out and be more active. Would I do it by myself? Maybe. Do I have a lot more fun and joy when I'm like, hey, baby, this little poochie who loves and adores you, right? There's positive energy there. So these are choices that I've made in my life that bring me such joy, right? Like I have lived this $1 million lifestyle. I'm like, I don't know if I can live regular anymore. Serious. Anyway, I say all that to say these are choices that we make. These are all choices that we get to make. So cultivating joy, defining it, cultivating it, and then really being in a position where you know these are your call to actions. And I'm actually going to, hopefully you like this, I'm actually going to start with the little bit of a call to action. So I'm going to say, make sure you're clear what success is, start with the end in mind. So make sure you're clear what success looks like for you. We talked about the breathing. We talked about, deciding, I need at least 3 moments of joy and 3 moments of peace by the end of this week. I need that by the end of this day, right? Like I look outside and I see the beautiful, like last night, the moon was out and it was a clear night. During the day, beautiful lilies and flowers are blooming everywhere. The pool was like perfectly heated. It felt like tropical paradise. And so like you could decide, we saw hummingbirds and it's like, flowers, birds, trees, air, right? I'm from Florida. So the lack of humidity is such a joy. Like, are you sitting in the shade? The sun is out. In Florida, it doesn't even matter. You could be sitting in the shade and you're like drenched. That doesn't happen here in Seattle. So when I say I'm just a Florida girl going, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I say all of that to say, choose joy. Choose joy. And I know in prior sessions I've said, embrace all of your feelings. And both things can be true. If joy is your default, meaning I choose joy on a regular, So if you decide that I'm going to have 3 moments of joy, 3 moments of peace, and I'm going to do something, at least one thing, maybe 3 things, right? Each day, 3 small, tiny little micro wins is what I'm calling them. Micro wins each day that are going to accrue to one or some of your goals. If physical fitness is one of your things, great. If it's about starting a business or finishing school or just being a more patient spouse or parent or going to work and being more creative at work or like whatever it is, I want to get a degree, I want to get a certification, whatever. So do 3 things, right? And if you can only do one and celebrate that one, woo! And then do 2 and then do 3, right? I'm talking micro wins. I'm not talking about going to the gym and working out for 30 minutes. I'm saying I drink some water today, way more than I would have, right? I stick to it. Tell someone, write it down, email me. I'd stay with you. Like I want to fight the fight with you because it's like joy and peace. This is how we achieve this living powerfully experience. This is how we achieve it. And it's better together, which is why I'm saying, call me, write me, Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. Write me. I'm all in. I love this. So I'm going to say, start with your definition of success. And if a call to action is this concept of saying, I really want to be my own best resource, not only for myself, but for others, then I would say we need to pause and do a couple of, moments of truth. And let me tell you what I mean by that. When you think about this concept, and I'll come back to cultivating joy and cultivating peace, and I'll give you some specific things that you can do, some rituals that you can do for each of those. And you can think of your own and type in the chat and tell me what you think as well. But, this concept of saying you also want to, think about a time when you have felt joy, a moment of inner peace that was so fulfilling. I remember crying tears of joy. Again, I'm a gardener, so basically once you plant bulbs in the ground and they've come up several years, they're just going to keep coming. If you don't, there's no wildfires. Basically, you don't dig them out of the ground. These perennials, by definition, they come back year after year, and they come back bigger and better, and they multiply and all the things. So I kind of expected my garden to be beautiful every year. What I didn't expect is, and I kind of mix real plants with fake plants, right? So like I had a bunch of silk plants that were on my inside that I put out like outside. And I kind of mixed them in, and I would put sometimes I'd use like little, like I had this vase, a vase. It was about 3 feet tall, and it had like this fern kind of a thing coming out of it. And I just set it outside when we were moving. I just set it outside by the sliding glass door. It wasn't intentional. It was just kind of there. A bird actually grew a nest inside the base of this thing. And it was like 2 inches from my sliding glass door, 3 feet off the ground. So I literally woke up one spring to 3 little baby chickadees looking up at their mom like, and I'm like, if you knew me, I'm a bird, I'm a flower child, but I also love nature and butterflies and hummingbirds. And I literally was like, what? And I swear to you, my mom sent me that picture because I sent it to her and I was like, oh my God. She sent me that picture of the 3 birds with their mouths open in the thing, and I'm showing her the sliding glass door, and I'm like, "This, I work from this chair. I look out at my garden, and now I have these babies." Now, of course, I'm a little overboard and extra, so I, of course, started buying live worms, and I was feeding the mother birds, so you didn't have to go too far. So they became my grandbabies, basically. But I had such joy. I just knew what joy I would have watching them grow and watching the mommy do her thing, and the pops too. They were both there doing their, caretaking roles, and talk about joy. And it's like, allow yourself to feel joy for the simple things is another, another opportunity that I would ask of you. So does joy mean I won the lotto? Yes, I would be excited about that, but I don't wait for the big things. I find joy in a beautiful flower, in a, like I said, that situation is probably one of the happiest. And I've traveled around the world. So I've had some amazing experiences, but for me, that right there it was divine. It was like God, put this nature, this natural experience right there for me. So I say, reflect, write a moment where you felt this pure joy, maybe tears of joy. Maybe it was the birth of your child. I don't have children, right? But I love animals. And so now I put myself around them without the pressure or the expense of having to, like I still have flexibility to travel, but when I want to, I go to these beautiful places with water views and I take care of these lovely babies. I'm very selective. I'm very, very selective. And it's because I want to have joy. I want to have peace, and I do on a regular basis. So we're going to ask you during the break. It looks like it's break time. We're going to ask you during the break to do a couple of things. We're going to ask you to just pause and think about joy, but also think about 2025, the end of this year. What do you want to accomplish? And we're going to talk about how you're going to get there. Not only get there, but get there with joy, with peace, with ease. And we're going to also circle back to the why and the how. So stay with me. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Traci Harrell. You're watching Better Together and Living Powerfully.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not driving my sweet AMC Pacer through the car wash, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. You missed a spot.
Join Rainier Avenue Radio and Safeway Saturday, June 14th at the Rainier Beach location celebrating Juneteenth. There'll be live music from Alex Dugdale and the Fade Jazz Quartet. Get your face painted by a local artist celebrating freedom through food and fellowship. We'll be there with activities, including interviews, and we're going to talk to staff from Safeway as well. Hey, we're going to have raffles, and we'll be giving away Safeway gift cards along with a year's supply of Gain laundry detergent. Phenomenals. And yes, a live remote with me, Tony B. Come on down to Safeway and join us and honor Juneteenth by purchasing Black-owned products on Safeway's shelves like Glory Greens, Glory Foods, and Mrs. Richardson's Toppings. Safeway, doing it big on Saturday, June 14th. You dig? at your Rainier Beach Safeway location.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at the local Filipino community, Phil Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in Phil Radio every Tuesday 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio. Download the app so you don't miss out what's popping with Crackle Shining. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all. A lot to talk about. You know, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam Thursday at 4 p.m.
Are you in need of new or gently used clothing? Hope's Community Closet is here to help. We offer a wide range of clothing for men, women, youth, children, and infants. Join us on the fourth Saturday of each month from 12:30 to 4 at the Silent Task Force. We're giving clothing with care, community with heart. Lovely Ladies Lemonade for sale, and shop to the sound of old school soul. Any questions? Contact Alicia Kennedy, Executive Director of Women United at 206-316-7601. 206-316-7601. Come and find the perfect outfit for you and your family. We look forward to seeing you there.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Hey y'all, this is Dr. Traci Harrell, and I could not be more excited to bring to you another episode of Better Together and Living Powerfully. And as I said at the beginning of today's show, it is June. It was 85 degrees yesterday in Seattle, and as a Florida girl, I'm like, ooh, I love it. I love it. The weather's amazing, but it's June. That means we're halfway through the year. So I mentioned this like last year. I think I used this language. Let's resurrect our resolutions, those things that we decided we wanted to do at year end. June is a perfect time to do it, right? The heat kind of gives you a little bit more energy. There's joy and peace. People are getting together. And so my ask is that you literally believe that it's possible. Know that you've made progress if you've kept the thoughts in your mind and you've been intentional. Show up with us here every week, and we can guarantee you're going to be moving toward your goals if you're willing to do the work. Now, some people say that they're willing to do the work, but they're actually not doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Like I have these Adinkra symbols. These are some symbols when I did my little Africa trip. And what I love about the concept of tapping into things that are bigger than us, right? My company is called It's All Bigger Than Me. And in Africa, I was able to tap into a country and a legacy, a history that was so deep and so profound. There was no question. I already knew that I could do anything, but I came back believing that we were superheroes, right? We have the science. We know what to do if we choose to do those things. And so part of my role, part of my goal, part of my mission, part of my purpose is to show up for you right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Show up for you every Monday at 6:00 with Better Together and Living Powerfully, so that your experience, your life experience, and I must got something to say, because let me just be clear. When I say I'm, again, divinely inspired. You understand what I mean? Like I am divinely inspired. God has given me so many gifts. And again, do I have issues? 1,000. So yes, I do. But one of them is not the ability to take in a lot of information, to synchronize that information in such a way that we're able to put it out, hopefully in a way that other people are able to digest it. So when I say my next book, mark my word, my next book will be ready in September, June to September, because I'm like, I can't waste any time. Now, I've contributed to three books that became international bestsellers. So I know the process, right? I also helped 30 authors in the last book, Ignites Possibilities, write their story. So really what I'm helping you all to do is to write your story. Like, be intentional about writing the story of your life, about living your legacy right now, like living it fully, knowing that if your days are numbered, which all of ours are, if your number is called, let me put it that way, if your number is called, I don't know why I'm so loud, hopefully you're adjusting the volume, but I get excited. Oh, if your number is called, I just need you to know that you have put all of your efforts into the mission that is yours, right? The purpose of why you're here. Like, if there's just choose one thing you want to do and then do a little something toward it every day. Okay, here's how. I took notes. This is going in the book too. So we talked about, again, if we're going to bring in the new power of the joy and peace, because there's power that comes with that. When you're in the zone, right, things are just come easy. We had talked previously about that ikigai, I-K-I-G-A-I, when you're living on purpose, when you found your passion, something that you just love to do, your vocation, something that you do extremely well without really trying, your mission where you know you're going to be helping others, and your profession where you can do these things and get paid. It's like, there you go. That's the purpose of it. That's that center of those four concentric circles. The centerpiece of that is like bullseye. So if you could just start talking to yourself and asking yourself the question about, what do I love to do? If you go to work every day and you're doing something because you get paid well to do it, I did that for 25 years, so I understand the golden handcuffs, right? But I was also working in nonprofits. I was also doing work with the National Black MBA Association. I felt like I was contributing to people and lives, and people would tell me all the time, girl, thank you for speaking the truth that we couldn't speak, right? I don't know. I'm fearless. At this point, I would say I'm fearless, not because I'm special, but because I believe that everything happens for my good. I believe in a divine creator who put me here, and he wants me to do good work. And I'm like, okay, so I'm in, right? So there's the spiritual side, there's the scientific side. So let me get to it. Sorry. So if we start with intention, I've said this before about, looking at, sometimes we don't respond at our best, right? So our saboteurs show up and something happens, someone else's energy, which is negative or not aligned with what you want to do. And we allow that to, spin us off into a place that is not ideal. So instead, what we get to do is just get to pause and breathe. It's like a 4 count. Inhale and exhale, right? I choose joy, right? I choose peace. Right now, I choose, action, right? Because I got to do something. I've had several people who've been watching my show like every week, and I love that. I appreciate the insight. I appreciate the follow-up. I appreciate the DMs and whatever you need to do. I appreciate it. I've even given my number to a few people, and I'm here. I'm here I'm here for you. But some people have said that they were struggling just taking the appropriate action. And so again, it's the little action and then celebrating that little win. So choosing joy, finding joy, right? Kind of leaping into this space of gratitude, like all the things that you have to be grateful for, right? The man who was, had no shoes saw some man who had no feet. Okay, well, that might be no legs. Okay, right? My shoes are old. My shoes have holes in them, but I have feet, right? So I'm saying, like, find those things that you can be grateful for and choose joy. And what are you going to do with those feet? You're going to step up? You're going to step into your truth? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, because we're going to do it together. So in your breathing and you're inhaling and exhaling, you can make choices. You can talk about those affirmations, the things that we've talked about in the past that are going to allow you to step into, the reality that you want to create. So if you believe that I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose action. For those people who have told me I sometimes can't even get out of bed, right? Therapy is a thing too, by the way. I have a therapist, as we all should. I'm just saying, like, right? I believe in. I'm not a therapist, but I'm a smart lady who's got multiple certifications, who read like 1,000 books, who's very confident and comfortable in what I know and how I can help people. And I'm not for everyone. I talk too fast. I move too fast. I talk about the truth. I hold people lovingly accountable, and that's too much for some people. Some people really say they want to do the right thing, but they really don't want to do the work. And then I'm a problem for them. And then it's like, oops, sorry. So I'm just saying, like, reach out to me if you want a coach that will lovingly take you on a journey, a Sherpa, right, who would lovingly take you on a journey. So it does start with breathing and pausing, and then having that roadmap, having some clarity and a vision about what you want to accomplish. And if you're going back to reflect and then resurrect those resolutions, you got to remember, like, one of them, which one energized you the most, right? Has anything failed by the wayside? Maybe there's one or two that you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on these two. For me, I'm gonna focus on my physical wellness and my financial wellness. Those are my top two, right? And then you can share them with someone else. Share them with me, I'm open, but find someone that you know and love that will be in a position to connect with you, right? And then ask yourself, what got in the way of you accomplishing that goal? Did you break it down into small? Did you say, I need to lose 50 pounds? What? Right? No, it has to be, I'm going to drink. I'm going to, think about your food intake and your movement. And so it's really about the habits that you create, not the end goal. I'm going to say that again. It's about the consistency and the habits that you take, the small little baby habits that you take and celebrate, because your brain needs to be like, oh, I like that. I need to do more of that. So it's the small wins that you celebrate. And it's your ability to be consistent, right? So, you can think about roadblocks. You can get yourself overwhelmed by thinking about, I got to lose 50 pounds. It's not about the pounds. I'm going to go as far as to say disconnect from the outcome. You want a number, you want SMART goals, absolutely. But you also want to disconnect from the outcome in the sense that it is more important that you build those consistent habits so it becomes second nature to you. Like you're a transformation says, I used to be a caterpillar scooching along on a limb, but when you become that butterfly, you don't remember that. Your wings are flying, you're flying around the world, and you don't even remember what it was like to scooch along, right, as a caterpillar on a branch. Your world changes. So allow yourself to truly transform and to get out of the small box that you're in and let the world truly be your oyster. So don't be afraid to just show up. I show up here every week. Again, hair in a ponytail. Y'all don't care. I don't care. You're going to do the thing. So here's what you're going to do if you think about cultivating joy and peace and a mindset on how you crush your goals. How you are just like, without a doubt, anchor yourself with joy. So it's that small practice that sparks a delight, right? Some simple ritual that's going to just bring you joy, bring a smile on your face. It's okay to smile. Some of us are so busy, we don't have time to smile. Stop. Look at the flowers that are blooming. And then think about, I said joy and peace. So think about some things that bring you peace. I had to pause and slow down when I'm saying peace, and I see the word calm on my page. I'm like, okay, I did write that down for myself. Right? So it's okay. So whatever ritual, for me, it's in the morning, it's my prayer and meditation. I choose these places that have these beautiful waterfront views, and that in the very early mornings is just my favorite time of the day. And it does give me a space to just, reflect and to truly find joy and peace in those spaces. I wanted to bring those two words in for people who are like, shoot, it is 6 months in. Yikes. No. Just do your thing. Just show up. Joy will trigger these dopamine releases in your brain, and that was going to activate a relaxation response automatically. So just know that. Like my shoulders, I've done some release work, or some forgiveness work is what Debrina Jackson Gandy calls it. And it's like thinking about how do you take negative emotions that you might have from negative experiences that you've had and then you want to release those, right? That's a whole separate show. We'll bring her back and talk about it again. But just know, you can look up forgiveness work to Brenda Jackson Gandy, and she has a lot of stuff out there as well. But this concept of breathing and releasing, right? And then the concept of truly reflecting is really an important thing to do as well. So when we think about, planning for the year, we did that. We started the year January planning, right? We had these SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Meaning, I'm going to read 20 books. I'm going to read 10 pages a day, and I'm going to finish by December 31st, right? I'm going to, so basically, you want to set something that you can do that's kind of small, 10 pages a day or 1 page a day, whatever it is. But you want to, if you got a bigger goal, then you just chunk it up. They call it chunking. You just slice it up into small little things. I'm just going to do one thing. If I wanted to read, and if you said I want to read 20 books and it's already June, you might decide, renegotiate with yourself. I'm going to read 10. I might get through 5 this year. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to build the process so it becomes part of my day, and that's going to be a lovely experience. So just know that you get to model this for other people as well. I love that. So if you think about, one of the things I like to do is like this guided gratitude break. I kind of call them brain breaks. And I use the word brain break because I had a stroke. I don't know if you guys know that, but I had a stroke on Christmas Day. I did. I'm not going to say I'm fully recovered because I'm still physically not as strong as I used to be. But that's why I'm focusing on my body this year. Like, I'm focusing on my physical strength. Many of the other areas have bounced back, recovered. Thank God I was actually really smart beforehand, like, because I forgot how to do certain things with the stroke. Like, I don't ride my bike the way I used to. I was kind of like, I have done a inline skating marathon, so 26.2 miles on inline skates through 4 Disney parks, like in the street, all kind of surfaces. I went to a rolling rink with a flat surface on regular 4-wheel skates, and I was like, so I'm not like, right? I literally forgot how to play chess. Thank God I didn't forget everything, but I forgot some things. I'm just saying, but I couldn't be more grateful to be alive. God was like, I ain't done with you. Thanks. Thank you. That means I got some work to do. That's part of the reason I show up. So I am grateful. I am going to be moving more and stretching more. And you can do the same thing, like roll your shoulders, do your little wrist movements and all that kind of stuff. But the idea of being accountable to someone else is also really important. So build these power partnerships, these accountability buddy system kind of things, with the living power, with positive intelligence. They have some pod coaching, right? Even if it's just 10 minutes together, like getting together, but also you could just go onto Facebook and make a public commitment, right? I've made some commitments, and it's really interesting. Like, I made public commitments, and the truth is, it's easier for me to do public things than it is for me to just and do private things. So for the last 6 months, I've been doing work, a lot of it, but I haven't made it public. I've been able to travel to these amazing places. I was on a cruise and doing these various things, and it's like I didn't have a motivation to like tell everybody what I was doing. I was just having my experience, and that came from my trip to Africa. We were doing some really cool things, and some of the guides would be like, hey, for people who wanted to videotape, et cetera, they were like, just let this be your experience. And for me, who loves to share, that was so powerful. So I kind of do a lot more of that. But if you're the opposite and you spend a lot of quiet time alone, this might be the time for you to say, I want to make a public declaration, right? That I'm going to be healthier, or that I'm going to do ABC, and then come back. I bet you'll be surprised how many people will be there to support you and to love you and to do all the things you might hope. So again, we're going to talk specifically about the kinds of things we're going to ask you to do. And I mentioned the term micro practices. They really have to be daily micro practices, right? So whether it's whatever your goal is, small things need to happen with consistency. And if you want to do them with joy and peace, then you want to make sure that you take a smile break. Ding. Literally, I'm just going to breathe through 4 breaths and smile. Think of that thing. Remember I was saying, think of something that brings you joy. I could bring this puppy in here. It brings me joy. He's so sweet. He's so sweet. So again, remember these joy breaks. a joy break, a peace break, a peace pause is what I'm going to call it, right? So take 3 conscious breaths, right? Say when an email comes in from someone that normally aggravates you a little bit, say, hold please. Before you even look at it, talk to yourself. Hold please. You need to power up your inner joy. You need to power up your inner peace. So if it's already here, when something happens, that means you don't go to the breaking point, right? You're still up here because you've done some things. You've thought about something that makes you happy. You visualized it. You kind of put yourself in that space. And then when something happens, again, people can't make you upset. They can do something and you can be like, interesting. I don't know if that's, exactly how I would have said that or done that, but, thank you. And you can use your phone. There's all kind of tech tools that you can use to remind yourself about this joy and peace if it's not, something that you would normally do. But definitely, get into a practice of connecting in community. I have just looks like 5 minutes, and I got 2 announcements I want to share with you guys. So let me just do a quick recap. We talked about these call to actions. So if we were going to reflect and resurrect, I'm going to ask you to do that right now. Like for this week, let this be the week where you pause, reflect, and resurrect. But do it with joy and peace. You're not stressed out. This isn't like, oh my goodness, it's June. What am I going to do now? No. It's June. Let's see how I'm going to level up. Woo! With joy and peace, right? So you get to be happy. You get to choose joy. You take smile breaks. Just smile. Just, imagine when you're the day your child was born, or maybe your wedding was your happiest day, or maybe, whatever it is, like you got the day you bought your prize Porsche or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, little things bring me joy. And if it's little or big, you decide. But now you want to make joy a regular occurrence. So throughout your day, take these joy breaks and just think of that thing or think of something new, or go outside and, pull yourself into a place of joy and of peace. So then when you think about tonight, if you think about specific action steps, choose one thing that you're going to do to bring yourself joy. Choose another thing you're going to do, right? And maybe that same thing that brings you joy brings you peace, but now you still want to think about that future goal that you had set for yourself, that resurrected, resolution, whether you use that term or not, but like a goal that you want to accomplish in life. And just one thing that you're going to do, before the night falls. And even if it's just write down a plan, write it down and break down some little chunks of things that you can do that will make you feel like, okay, this is definitely moving me in the right direction. And if you feel like you're struggling big time, again, I'm a resource. I am a coach, and I provide these services to community in this way for free because I want to make sure no one has any blocks from living their best life, from living powerfully. And I have a lot of resources. I'm putting them out there into the universe. Like I said, between June and September, I will have my next book out. Again, my first book that I contributed to is called Ignite Happiness. You guys can find that on Amazon. The second book is called Ignite Your Inner Spirits. Again, my spirit is a very important part of who I am. And the third book is called Ignite Possibilities. There's 2 editions. The second edition, is the one with my name is on the cover on Amazon. So again, I was a project lead for that one. And I was a project lead for the first version too, but they decided to customize the book and make it just like an all black cover. It was very cool. With just the words in gold. So it was very cool, but all of our names got taken out. So I clearly like the second version just because it's like, oh, I got to help people tell their stories. And so that's my goal with you, is to help each of you to tell your story as well, to live your best life and to don't hesitate. Like, don't let anyone steal your joy, right? Know that it's yours for the taking, right? Don't let anyone steal your peace. It is yours for the taking. And then you got to also remember, when we say things, the first person we gotta really, honor is ourselves. Because oftentimes we say things and then we don't honor the commitment we made to ourselves, right? If you said, I'm going to work out, I'm going to get up, even if it's just 5 minutes of stretching, in your living room, you didn't make it to the gym. I moved more than I would have. I walked around and did, whatever, some steps or something, right? So I'm going to say, commit to yourself that you're going to show up. You're going to show up differently. And I'm going to end So just another breath. I'm going to ask y'all to breathe in. May joy fuel your efforts. May peace steady your mind. And may our collective energy carry you to the finish line. You like that? Okay, I'll say it one more time. May joy fuel your efforts. So that means you got to take action and do it with joy. May peace steady your mind, right? This is about us, finding peace and calm. And then may our collective energy carry you across the finish line. Okay, y'all, I'm here for you. Next week, we're going to be doing this work at another level of amplification. I have two announcements I wanted to share for Rainier Avenue Radio. Apparently, there's next Saturday, there's going to be we're going to be celebrating Juneteenth on Rainier Avenue Radio from 1 to 4 p.m. And it's going to be Rainier Avenue Radio's live broadcast. It's going to be on location at a Safeway Juneteenth, followed by a live broadcast on location of Atlantic Street Center's Juneteenth celebration next week, Wednesday, the 18th, from 5 to 8 p.m. Yay. And I'm also excited. I don't know if there's a flyer, but we'll see. There's also another show. I love this idea of us living our best life. There's another show that's going to be starting, a brand new live self-improvement show called Standing Above the Crowd. Hey, I love that title. As it goes live for the first time this Thursday at 3:30 p.m., hosted by former NBA player James Donaldson. So Standing Above the Crowd. You heard it right here, y'all. So my name is Dr. Traci Harrell. This is Better Together and Living Powerfully. I think up next, we have my favorite sports show. Yay, it's Lid Line Sports. It's the fastest hour in sports. Hosted by Pepe, Otis, and Michael Carter. Stay tuned right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. It's been my pleasure to host you, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And remember, joy and peace are yours for the taking. You got this. Bye.